Welcome to Jaed English Center.
Welcome to Jaed English Center. Today, I want to share with you a night I will never forget. Yes, my first night after marriage. Like every girl, I carried dreams in my heart. Dreams of love, of care, of someone who would make me feel special. But along with those dreams, there was fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what might happen when the lights went dim and I was left alone in a new room with a man I barely knew. Tonight, I will tell you how those fears slowly changed into trust, how my silence turned into comfort, and how I realized true love never comes with pressure. It comes with respect, with kindness, and with safety. So, come closer. This is the story of my first night. My name is Sarah. I am a simple girl from a small village, and at the age of 14, my life changed forever. It was my wedding day, a day filled with smiles, blessings, and endless emotions. From the time I was a little girl, I had dreams about marriage. Like many other girls, I dreamt of love, of gentle words, of a soft touch that would make me feel special, valued, and beautiful. I imagined a partner who would look into my eyes and make me feel like I was the only one in the world. These dreams carried me through my teenage years and gave me hope for the future. But along with those dreams came a shadow, the shadow of fear. Deep inside, I was scared of the unknown. What would happen on my first night? Would it hurt? Would it be like the frightening stories I had heard? Or would it be like the magical tales some friends told me, filled with laughter and joy? I had heard so many different things. Some of my cousins said the first night was painful, that girls often cried. Others said it was the most beautiful night of their lives, full of tenderness and romance. A few even laughed, sharing funny stories about awkward beginnings. But none of these stories truly prepared me for my own experience. The day of my wedding passed like a blur. Bright colors, loud music, countless photos, blessings from elders, and tears from my family. Every moment was overwhelming. The hardest moment was leaving my parents' home. My heart felt heavy as I hugged my mother, her tears wetting my shoulder. My father tried to stay strong, but his eyes betrayed his pain. With every step I took away from them, my chest grew tighter. When I arrived at my husband's home, everyone welcomed me warmly. Smiles, sweets, and kind words surrounded me. Yet inside, I was trembling. My hands felt cold, my lips were dry, and no matter how much I tried, I could not calm my heart. The night crept in slowly. Guests began to leave one by one, and the laughter of the day faded into quiet whispers. My smile stayed fixed on my face, but it was only a mask. Beneath it, I was nervous, so nervous that even the sound of my own heartbeat felt too loud. Finally, I was led to the room that was now mine. Our room, my new home, my new beginning. As I entered, I noticed the bed first. It was decorated with red roses, their petals spread like a soft carpet. The sweet fragrance of perfume filled the air, mixing with the faint smell of incense. The lights were dim, casting a soft glow that made the room look dreamy, almost unreal. I sat down on the edge of the bed, my eyes lowered. My fingers twisted the end of my scarf, a small way to hide my trembling. My heart was beating like a drum, faster and faster, as if it wanted to escape from my chest. Every second felt heavy. I wondered what would happen when he entered. Would he be gentle? Would he be harsh? Would he speak? Or would everything happen in silence? I thought about the stories I had heard again. Some brides said they cried out of pain, while others said they cried out of love. I didn't know which one would be mine. I was caught between dreams and fears, between hope and uncertainty. As I waited, I remembered my mother's words before the wedding. She had held my hand tightly and whispered, "Sarah, marriage is a journey. The first step may feel difficult, but remember, patience and trust will guide you." Her words gave me some comfort, but in that moment, my fear was louder than her advice. The room felt so quiet, almost too quiet. My ears picked up every small sound, the rustle of my dress, the soft hum of the ceiling fan, even my own shallow breathing. I kept my gaze fixed on the floor, afraid to look at the door, afraid of the moment it would open. And then the silence deepened. The guests had all gone. The laughter outside had faded completely. I knew the time had come. Any moment now, the door would open and my life would truly begin as a wife. I sat there, frozen, my heart racing, my palms sweating. I whispered a silent prayer in my heart, asking God for strength, for kindness, for love. And in that stillness, I realized this night was not just about fear. It was about stepping into the unknown, about trusting fate, about beginning a new chapter of my life. Whether painful or magical, awkward or beautiful, it was mine. And so, with trembling hands and a racing heart, I waited for the sound of the door. A few minutes later, I heard the sound I had been waiting for, the soft creak of the door. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't dare look up, but I knew it was him, my husband, the man I had married only hours ago, a stranger, yet now the closest person to me in the world. He entered the room slowly, carefully, as if he knew how fragile the moment was. The door closed behind him with a gentle click, and suddenly the silence of the room grew heavier. My heart began to race faster, my breathing shallow, my lips pressed together tightly. I could feel my own pulse in my ears. He walked toward me, his steps soft, unhurried. Then he sat down on the bed, but not too close. The distance between us felt like a sea, yet his presence filled the room. There was silence for a few seconds. I thought he would immediately touch me, but he didn't. He didn't rush, didn't demand. Instead, in a soft voice, he whispered, "Sarah, I know this is not easy. I won't force anything. I just want to talk to you first." His words surprised me. They felt like a blanket of warmth around my trembling heart. His voice was calm, gentle, soothing, like a cup of warm tea on a cold winter night. Slowly, hesitantly, I turned my head and looked at him properly for the very first time that night. What I saw surprised me even more. He wasn't looking at me with hunger or impatience. He was smiling nervously, his eyes soft, almost shy. Not like a man ready to claim his bride, but like a boy afraid of scaring a little bird sitting near his hand. That simple look gave me a strange kind of peace. He reached for the jug on the table and poured water into a glass. Then, gently, he offered it to me. For a second I hesitated, but then I reached out. Our fingers brushed lightly as I took it, and that tiny touch sent a wave of electricity through my skin. My cheeks burned hot, though my hands were still cold. As I lifted the glass, he chuckled softly and said, "You don't have to be shy, you know." "I'm not going to eat you." For the first time that night, I laughed. A small, nervous laugh, but it was real. The tension in my chest loosened a little. That one simple joke, so gentle and kind, broke the wall of fear I had built inside myself. He began to talk after that, not about serious things, but about silly, ordinary things. He told me about how he had almost tripped while entering the wedding hall earlier, and how embarrassed he felt when everyone stared at him. He shared how nervous he was before coming into the room. how he had stood outside the door for minutes, gathering courage, just like me sitting inside, trying to calm my own fears. I listened, surprised. I had never thought men felt nervous or shy on their wedding night. I had always believed it was only the bride who felt pressure, who carried fear. But hearing him admit his own nervousness made him feel more human, more real. His honesty slowly melted my fear, drop by drop, like ice melting in the sun. As he spoke, I noticed small things about him. The way his hands moved when he explained something, the way his eyes lit up when he laughed at his own jokes, the way his voice softened whenever he mentioned me. These little details made me realize he was not a stranger to fear or feelings. He was just as uncertain as I was. The room that had felt heavy and suffocating before now began to feel lighter. The roses on the bed, the perfume in the air, the quiet hum of the ceiling fan, all of it blended with his words, creating a moment of calmness I had not expected. For the first time that night, I felt safe enough to speak. My voice was low, almost trembling, but I asked him about his childhood, about his family, about the things he loved to do, and he answered with excitement, happy that I was talking. Slowly, our words built a bridge between us, a bridge stronger than fear. And as I sat there, sipping the water he had offered me, I realized something. The first night wasn't about rushing, wasn't about pressure. It was about beginning a conversation, building trust, creating a bond that could last a lifetime. In his presence, I was still shy, but I was no longer afraid. There was a pause in our conversation, a silence that didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt soft, like the silence of dawn, when everything is calm and waiting for the first light. I looked at him, and he looked back at me, not with demand in his eyes, but with patience. Then, in a gentle voice, he asked, "Can I hold your hand?" For a moment I froze. My heart raced again, the same beating drum inside my chest, but this time the rhythm felt different. Not fear, not panic, but something sweet, like the sound of rain on a quiet night. I nodded slowly, unable to speak. He reached out carefully, as though my hand was a fragile flower. His fingers wrapped around mine, warm, steady, protective. His touch wasn't rough, wasn't hurried. It was soft, tender, like he was holding something precious. And in that instant, I realized he was treating me as something valuable, not just a bride, not just a woman, but a person. The warmth of his palm seeped into me, melting the last bits of ice that fear had left inside me. I could feel my heart beating faster, but it was no longer from anxiety. It was from a new, sweeter feeling I hadn't experienced before. He looked into my eyes again and said, "I won't do anything tonight unless you're ready. I want you to feel safe with me, not scared of me." Those words, simple yet powerful, touched me more than anything else could have. My eyes filled with tears before I could stop them. Tears of relief, of gratitude, of emotions I couldn't name. Maybe it was love. Maybe it was the release of all the fears I had carried. Maybe it was the discovery that this man, whom I barely knew, was the kindest soul I had ever met. He noticed my tears and quickly lifted his hand to wipe them away. His fingers brushed against my cheek, gentle and warm. That touch, soft and caring, made me close my eyes. It wasn't a touch of lust. It wasn't a demand. It was pure care, deep care, the kind that makes you feel seen, understood, safe. For a moment, I let myself lean into that touch. My tears slowed, and a small smile broke on my lips. He smiled back, a little shy, a little relieved. Then, slowly, he leaned closer. My heart skipped again, but I didn't pull back. He placed a kiss on my forehead, a long, warm kiss. That kiss carried no weight of expectation, no pressure. It wasn't about desire. It was about reassurance. It was about telling me, without words, you are safe with me. You are loved. I had always imagined my first night would be filled with fear, confusion, or pain. But in that moment, I realized it could also be filled with gentleness. That love doesn't always begin with passion. Sometimes it begins with patience. He whispered softly, his lips still close to my skin. We have our whole life, Sarah. Let tonight be the beginning of love, not pressure. Those words stayed in my heart, carving themselves deep into my memory. They were not just words for the night. They were a promise for a lifetime. We lay down side by side after that. He wrapped his arm around me, pulling me gently toward him. My head rested on his chest, and I could hear his heartbeat. Slow, strong, steady. That sound was the most comforting music I had ever heard. It was like a lullaby, calming the storm inside me. As I lay there, I felt something I hadn't felt in hours. Peace. The kind of peace that comes when you realize you are not alone, when you know someone will stand beside you, protect you, and respect you. The night passed quietly. There were no grand gestures, no dramatic moments, but there was warmth. There was safety. There was the beginning of a bond, gentle, fragile, but real. Now, when I look back at that night, I don't smile because of what happened physically. I smile because of how it happened, because instead of rushing, he waited. Instead of demanding, he listened. Instead of pressure, he gave me comfort, and that, I realized, is what true love is, not fire, not force, not urgency, but patience, respect, and care. I want every girl to know this. Your first night should be yours. It should not be about fear or expectation. It should be about comfort, about two people learning to trust, learning to connect. It should be about two hearts, not just two bodies. That night was not just the beginning of my married life. It was the beginning of a love built on trust and tenderness. And for that, I will always be grateful.
And so this was Sarah's first night story. Not filled with fear, not forced by pressure, but gently built on love, trust, and respect. It reminds us all that marriage is not just about two bodies coming together. It is about two souls learning to trust, two hearts choosing to walk side by side, step by step, with patience and care. If you felt connected with Sarah's story, remember, in life too, the most powerful relationships are the ones where love is stronger than fear and respect is deeper than desire. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this story. I hope it touched your heart and inspired you to believe in kindness and gentle love. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more beautiful English storytelling that will touch your heart and help you grow in language and life.